So today we're going to be talking about how to increase traffic to your website, a guide to SEO, blogging, and AdWords. We've got three big topics to cover today. And within the time allotted, there's so much detail that we could dive into. But we're going to try to leave you with some meat that you can go and apply to your bed and breakfast. We want this to be as applicable as possible. We want for you to get something out of this, and we want you to go back to your end and apply it. Because one of the reasons we always try to talk about search engine optimization is in the beginning, because we know there's a lot of SEO firms out there that promise to get you ranked for certain keywords, and we take the position of trying to drive traffic, trying to increase traffic back to your website. So if the keywords aren't going to create value to your end in the terms of traffic, we don't want to make empty promises. So it's a pitfall that a lot of people fall into, a lot of innkeepers and owners. So we believe it's a really good topic to cover. And in addition, we'll talk about blogging and AdWords as content marketing strategies to kind of help grow traffic as well. So at Q4Launch, our focus is to help ends increase traffic, leads, and sales. And the first element of all of that is increasing your traffic. So that's what we're talking about today. So it is now, I believe, 11:05, so we're kicking things off. Here's the agenda for today's webinar. We're going to start with SEO and why ranking matters. Then we'll dive into what search engines look for. We'll talk about, what on-page content strategies do search engines try to target and find on your website, and then we're going to talk about what you can do about it. Finally, we'll jump into blogging and AdWords and talk about best practices and give you some takeaways for how you can implement certain strategies within your blog on your website to get more results in terms of ranking, and what you can do with AdWords to start buying traffic as an option. So why does ranking matter? Your website's traffic is a function of where you rank on search engines for specific keywords and keyword phrases. And I think the best way to see this is in terms of your guests. Really put yourself in your guest's shoes and try to understand how they found your end. Did they find it on Google? Did they find it on Bing? What did they search for, and what keywords did they search for? Were they searching bed and breakfasts, Savannah, Georgia? Basically, you want to understand how they might be going about searching for your inn or bed and breakfast, because at the end of the day, where you rank for certain phrases and where you kind of stack up against your competitors on Google in terms of search keywords will determine how much traffic is going to be awarded to your website. Okay, so to give you an idea of why, or just help you visualize why ranking matters, just want to provide you a screenshot here of a keyword that we've targeted for the Governor's House Inn here in Charleston. Give you some statistics there. Don't want to overwhelm you with some of those stats, but this is just straight from Google Analytics. And simply ranking matters because ranking drives traffic. If you're ranking in the top 5 on Google for bed and breakfast Charleston SC, you're going to experience a lot more traffic than if you're on the 3rd page of Google's organic search rankings. You can see the number of visits that this keyword contributes to the Governor's House Inn, and I believe this is over 3-month time frame. I believe that's the case. I'd have to go back and double check that, but you can also see the pages per visit and the average visit duration. This tells us that this keyword is very valuable to the inn. We see that it contributes a lot of visits. These are all potential guests. Obviously, not every single visit is going to, convert, but we know that those are potential guests, and we know that they're spending quite a bit of time on the site, so that there's, average of 2 minutes and 28 seconds. And so that there's value in this keyword phrase for us to target. So we began this conversation talking about SEO and why it matters, and I just continually want to hit on the idea that you need to understand which keywords you're targeting currently, whether you're doing it on purpose or not, because your content on your website tells a story, and that story is communicated to search engines, and that'll determine where you show up and what's going to be driving traffic to your website. So what do search engines look for? This boils down to content. Search engines will crawl your website, and they'll look for things that are known as meta tags, meta keywords, alt tags for your images, which may sound a little technical and maybe sound a little beyond what you typically want to be involved in on a daily basis. But all that means is they're searching for keywords on your website. And when they search for keywords, they measure ranking based on keyword relevance and keyword authority. So what's relevance? Well, relevance is whether or not the keyword phrase that was typed into Google really matches what's on your website. So if you're bed and breakfast Charleston SC and that's your keyword phrase that you're trying to target, well, it needs to match to some content on your website in the form of keywords. That does not mean you need to stuff your page with keyword phrases, because Google is smart enough to penalize websites that kind of condone those practices in part of their content strategy. So what you want to do is make sure that it's readable, that it's legible, but that you've gone after these keywords to increase your relevance. In addition, search engines will also look for keyword authority, which is the number of inbound links or backlinks that drive traffic and internet users back to your website. So if you have other websites or other relationships out there where they can link back to you in terms of, write a comment, blog about, your bed and breakfast and provide a link back to your website, that'll increase your authority for the subject of that keyword. So if you are bed and breakfast Charleston SC as a keyword phrase, or, accommodations in Savannah, Georgia, or, accommodations in upstate New York, what have you, the more links you have back to your website around those keyword phrases will increase your authority and help your ranking. So those are the two, when you talk to SEO firms, those are the two ways that, two levers you have to pull. The relevance is really an on-page, on-site strategy, and then the authority comes from creating just great content and sharing it with your network, and requesting links from sources that would add value to your website, and then they provide links back. So that's the ultimate goal. Just want to provide you an example here. To talk about keyword targeting and how you can use this will tie once again into your blogging strategy. But here we targeted for the Governor's House Inn, we targeted accommodations for Spoleto Festival, which is a huge arts festival in Charleston, South Carolina. It's over 2 weeks long, and it's scattered throughout downtown Charleston. And we wanted to make sure the inn was booked out through that entire period. So we started targeting that keyword early on in the season, and we're able to achieve, looks like, number 5 on Google organic rankings. So, what does this mean? We really just want you to see that how all this kind of ties together, how the pages you create on your website, the blog posts that you post can drive rankings. And this is what, when someone comes up and searches for accommodations for Spoleto Festival, this is what they're going to see. And, you're going to hope to garner some traffic from these rankings and get people to click through, and then, hopefully start driving more reservations and bookings. And this is the first step in that process, is getting that traffic and developing content on your website so that you can rank for these keyword phrases. So what can you do about it? The first thing that we recommend is really focusing on page optimization. Part of the homework this week is going to be a free analytics audit. which will really help us and you understand where you can improve your website. This will allow you to dive into some of the data and see what keywords are driving traffic to your website right now, and look at some potential keywords that could help you increase traffic. When you focus on on-page optimization, it's really about content development, blogging, which we're going to jump into blogging next here, and blogging with keyword best practices. Developing blogs that target keywords, but they're still readable. It's not keyword stuffing. It's added value content to your audience, and that they're mixed in with other upcoming events. You're sharing accommodations for festivals that are in your area, and just creating content that your users want to see and that also help target these keywords. In addition, there's stuff that goes on in the background of your optimization. This means making sure that your meta tags on your website are match your keywords, and that the keywords you are targeting are actually driving good solid traffic. I sound like a broken record, but we see it so many times where an end will target a keyword phrase that just has no value. It has no traffic, or it has no potential to drive traffic to the website. So we definitely don't want that to be you. And if you're sitting there and you're wondering what keywords are driving traffic to my website, and sign up for the analytics audit and send us your information with your Google Analytics login credentials, and we can walk you through what we see and just educate you on how to improve it. The last thing we want is one of those SEO firms to take advantage of the lack of knowledge. So the next thing you can do is understand where you rank for certain keywords. I think we really talked about that in the first one. And then also just ask former guests about how they found your end. What did they search for? Think back to when you took a vacation or were traveling to a sister inn in another city, and really look at how you probably knew where it was, but put yourself in the guest shoes and really search for it and see if you can find it. If you can't find it, try to figure out why. And also use social media and surveys. Ask good former guests to provide information on how they found it and how they found your in, and use that information to kind of develop your keyword strategy going forward. Okay, blogging. Included this screenshot from Starsky and Hutch. But blogging is extremely important in marketing today. It's websites that blog experience on average 55% more traffic than websites that don't. That's according to HubSpot. And we highly recommend starting a blog on your website. It's one of the easiest ways that you can take control of your content development. You want to make sure that you have a content management system for your website that's easy to use. And we recommend that your blog be a part of your website, so that you get the credit for those keywords that you're writing about and targeting. And typically we recommend to write 3 to 5 blogs a month. But the important thing is just to get started. If you haven't written a blog in a long time, just go ahead and get one developed, because it's a big source for traffic. I showed you previously the accommodations for Spoleto Festival. That was developed through the blog of the Governor's House Inn. So it's a great tool to drive organic traffic back to your website. 5 steps you can take to developing a better blog. First, make sure that you do have a blog on your website. If you're thinking about using Blogspot or another outside service provider, you should really consider tying it back into your actual domain or subdomain of your website, so that you get the keyword credit for those keywords that you're targeting in regards to content. It's just you don't want to be writing blogs on another source, then realize your website's actually not getting any more traffic from your efforts. So it's important to perform some keyword research. There's a lot of tools out there. There's which I can send over to. I'll check the question panel at the end, and you know, I can provide some of those tools. But Google actually has a keyword tool that's a part of AdWords that allows you to see what keywords might be appropriate for your end, and what kind of traffic can you expect, and how competitive is it for those keywords, so that you can understand how many blogs should you be writing, how much content to develop, so that you do get results. And the other piece I want to hit on too is, beyond just keywords, the blog is a tool for you to be a thought leader and an expert in your area. So, you know, really have fun with it. Take ownership of this publishing tool, because, you know, never before have we really had such a great opportunity to share content with former guests via social media, or, you know, potential guests on social media as well. So, you know, you can share about events, restaurants in your area. Just, you know, have fun with it. And it's not only a keyword tool, but, you know, that's a big part of it. There's a strategy there, and so you just want it to be a healthy mix of content, where you've got just a lot of fun stuff going on, and a tool for you to share the knowledge that you have of your end and the area in which it's located. The third step is performing audience and market research. And what I mean by that is using social media to manage engagement. Every time you post a blog, you should share it out across Facebook and Twitter, and really see what kind of engagement you get. See if you get any comments on your blog. See if you get people to like your post, and use that to kind of cater and develop your blog calendar, so that you really have actual market, you know, research from past guests, and maybe even people that are looking at your at visiting your end and liked you on Facebook, and tie all that back into your blog calendar. We recommend developing a blog calendar 3 months out, so that you can have, you know, 3 blog topics that you want to cover within the following 3 months, so that you know, when you're strapped for time, you actually have something you can go back to, and it just allows you to think ahead, and not get overwhelmed when it comes time to actually sit down and type things up. Like I said, just have fun with it. Final step is write your content and publish blogs with best practices. This piece, the best practices, what you want to make sure you're doing is that depending on your content management system, there's certain ways you can go about, you know, tagging keywords within your blog article, you know, making sure that the images you post in your blog have alt tags that are around specific keywords, so that that content is, you know, highly relevant to that phrase that's being searched for. So if we were doing the accommodations for Spoleto Festival, well, we might tag some of those images with that phrase, and you know, tag some of the keywords within the content of the blog, so that you know, it increases our chances of getting ranked for that phrase. In addition, you want your blog to be designed in a way that you know, communicates your ideas clearly. You don't want it to be overpacked with information, and you want them to be able to come onto your blog, get the information they need quickly, and be able to digest it quickly, because you know, you want to keep in mind that internet users are, you know, strapped for time, and, you know, going to be reading quickly. So there's some other things that go into that, and if you have questions at the end about, you know, blogs you've written and whether or not they added value, that's something we can talk about and discuss as well. But these are just 5 quick steps to help you get started. And if you have questions on the details behind these, glad to discuss that as well. Okay, AdWords. First, I just want to comment how advertising has changed. You know, included the slide here with the billboard and AdWords pasted up. AdWords represents the opportunity to buy traffic. So if you're not getting traffic from organic sources where you've targeted keywords, maybe you've gotten a few links and you're sitting there and you're like, well, I'm not ranking for bed and breakfast, Savannah, Georgia, or bed and breakfast, upstate New York. So you're sitting there, and now you're kind of frustrated because you're not getting the rankings you want, or maybe it's another phrase that's just highly competitive, and you really want to start seeing traffic come to your website out of that phrase because you know that that's what your potential guests are searching for. Well, your option is to buy that traffic. And actually go back for a second. So in AdWords, there's just so much detail that we can get into, from developing certain campaigns around accommodations or specials that you're offering to creating the actual ads. The biggest thing that we want to hit on is that we don't want you to waste your money and feel like you have to go out there and buy, a lot of traffic, because you want to tie it back to ROI and tie it back to value. AdWords is a great way to increase bookings. It's a part of, all the other strategies we've mentioned today. But you want to make sure that you've tied it back to, whether or not you have the potential to allow your guests to book reservations online. You want to make sure that you can set up a goal that you want the ad to achieve. So you might set up a goal that you're going to create an ad about, holiday specials, and you're going to target certain keywords, and you can set all that up in the back end of AdWords. And you want to measure the performance of that ad by not just seeing the clicks that come through, but once those clicks do come through, are they converting, and what are they converting on? So you can start tying it back to a return, so that these ads and these placements are contributing, X number of reservations per month, so that you can make an informed decision to manage your campaigns. So here's kind of a 5-step best practice guide to AdWords. This is really just the quick and dirty of it. It's, once again, there's just so much meat in each of these topics, but we wanted to hit on some of the big areas, and then if we have specific questions in the end that we can hit into deeper detail. The homework will also be a great way to dive into some of the specific details within each of these areas, so that we can use that analytics audit to really understand what you can do better at your end, and what content strategies would make sense as part of your blog, and just get a more specific look at what kind of opportunities you have. So here's 5 steps that you can take in a best practice manner to manage your AdWords. Start once again with keyword research. It all really goes back to understanding keywords, whether you're writing a blog, whether you are searching for some links back to your website and starting to talk with, build relationships in your area, or you're trying to, start to buy and place some ads. You want to understand, how much these ads are going to cost you. So what's the cost per click on those keywords? Typically, if the keyword there's a bidding process that is involved here, so the cost per click will vary in time, so it won't remain constant. So there's an estimator in Google. There's a traffic estimator where you can see, and you can kind of forecast out how much traffic you can expect by bidding X amount on a specific keyword phrase, and you can see the cost per click. All of that will allow you to make some decisions in terms of, okay, I know I can target these keywords with my blog, and I can kind of hope to get some organic traffic. Well, I know these are highly competitive, and my only option might be to set up AdWords and manage that. So there's a lot of tools you can use to do your research up front. We recommend you do your due diligence so that you kind of have an idea. There's no guarantees in the search engine optimization world, in the world of Google, but you can kind of get a good estimate of what you can expect. So that's where you want to start, and then you just want to develop simple, relevant ads. Keep the message concise. when you're writing these ads, you want to make sure that the ad content matches the landing page that you're directing traffic back to your website. So if you're creating an ad for specials in the holidays, you want to make sure that drives traffic back to a holiday special page on your website, which sounds simple, but sometimes it's missed. Sometimes people think that we'll create all these ads and drive traffic back to the home page. Well, you just want to make sure that you're developing simple, relevant ads that match the content. And it's okay to be specific with them if you want to write some specials and share, whether there's a 20% or 50% discount, and create ads around that content. You want, once again, this fits in with step 2, match that landing page to the ad content so that, we've seen this happen a lot when we've taken over AdWords management, and we've seen that, this is a fundamental thing, but the page content does not match the ad. And we can see it in the data that, typically what will happen is those visitors that have clicked on the ad will bounce quickly, which means they'll just leave. So there's no value to that visit. What we want is highly targeted ads so that they match the landing page, they see the value on the landing page, they click through, they perform something, maybe they book their reservation online, or they request a guide to upstate New York or whatever, and you can kind of then start nurturing them through a lead nurturing sequence. Once again, you just want to tie it back to value. So connect all your ads to conversion goals and tracking. You can set up goals with values to monitor your progress in AdWords and analytics. This will allow you, once again, to make an informed decision on which ads are performing and which ones aren't. What I mean by goals is you can actually attach values to certain pages on your website or certain processes. So if I'm looking at your website and I'm trying to book a reservation, well, I can go through the whole process of booking a reservation, and that last page I see can be attached to a goal in AdWords or analytics, so that we can measure that and see how traffic actually got to that page, and you can deductively see what you need to do to make things better. Finally, just analyze and measure ROI. Try to take all these strategies and tie them back to the return. And it all ties back to bookings. What ads are driving bookings? What blog posts are helping rankings? And with the blog, it's going to be about keywords and driving traffic, but a part of it's going to be about just sharing valuable content on social media and increasing engagement. But within your AdWords, you want to make sure that you do have it tied back to value. You can see, which ads are contributing high quality traffic and which ones aren't, and then eliminate the ones that aren't adding any value. Okay, so we've mentioned the homework several times, but I highly recommend this. If this is really piques your interest, it's hard to cover everything within the 30-minute time frame. But if you really trying to understand how this applies to your end, what you can do, go ahead and sign up for this analytics login audit. We want you to see the value through all of this. We want you to be educated. And so just send your login credentials to matt@q4launch.com for a free analytics audit. This will help you understand what are the top performing traffic sources. Are you getting more keyword or organic traffic? Are you getting a lot of referral traffic from bedandbreakfast.com, or is it coming from a travel site? And then we can also dive into the top 10 keywords that are driving traffic to your website within those organic sources. So just going to give you a good idea of what you can do differently, what kind of results you're getting now. And if you don't have analytics, we recommend that you contact your developer and go ahead and install the analytics tracking code. It's a simple thing for your developer to do, and it'll allow you to really see value. with that, we're going to go ahead and enter the Q&A period. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the question and answer pane. So if you do have any questions, just please feel free to let me know in the panel. Also, if you're not hearing me very well, just go ahead and make a comment. I want to make sure that everyone can hear, and I don't want to miss any steps. So don't be shy to jump in if you have any questions on any topic that we talked about. One of the questions we typically see, which we kind of addressed, is should the blog be a part of the website? And the answer is yes. This is something that you can talk to your developer about. You can ask them to develop a blog within your content management system, and it should become a part of your strategy if it's not already. And that's really a simple thing, once again, for your developer to take care of. But you want to make sure that the process is easy to manage, that you don't become overwhelmed. Another question that we typically see is, how many keywords should I target? You're sitting there, we've gone over these topics, and you're like, wow, I'm kind of overwhelmed. Should I be targeting 20 keywords? What should I do? We recommend somewhere between 5 and 10 initially, and if you're just starting out and trying to understand this, start on the lower, the lower part of that range. And when you're performing the research, and if you sign up for the audit, we can kind of talk about in a deeper detail about what goes into keyword research. Focus on the keywords that you think will drive the most traffic, and use the Google keyword tool, which I can provide that link to you, so that you can go in and see how competitive it is for you to rank for certain phrases. Okay, just had a question come in about tagging images with keywords. It's a good question. So if you, depending on the content management system you have, if you have WordPress or Joomla, typically when you post an image to a blog, there will be an edit option that'll allow you to, it'll kind of say alt tag, ALT tag, and within that little field pane that you see, that's where you want to put your keywords. So every content management is different. Unfortunately, content management system is different, which is unfortunate. So the steps for that are going to vary depending on what you're using. But you want to make sure that you are tagging your images and that you get value for those images. The other thing you might want to do, if you want to just see your alt tags, you can, I don't know if this will show up here. Let me see. No, but if you are on your website, just scroll over some of your images, and the little phrase that shows up, the little content block, will show you what you're currently tagged and targeting. And then on social, there's a question on social media and Facebook and Twitter. If you have a social media fan page for your end, and you're friends with other guests, you want to make sure you're friends with them to be able to, or if they're fans, you want to make sure they're fans with you so that you can tag them in images that you post. So the only way to really tag them is if they are actual fans of your page. Another question was, when tying a blog to Facebook, basically how do I do that and tie a link back to my website? If you have a WordPress blog, there's actually a plugin available that allows you to publish your blog article directly to Facebook. But in addition, you can just, once you post the blog, just copy and paste the URL in the search field up top on your web browser, copy and paste that into Facebook and give it a few seconds, and then you'll kind of see within your status on your Facebook, you'll see it'll start pulling content from your page and might include an image that was headlined on that page. And then you can it'll automatically link back to your blog on your website. And once again, it's a great way for you to see what content your guests really want, to see. It's just it's a great tool. We just ran a contest with the Governor's House Inn for a Veterans Day photo contest, and we just saw tremendous success. It was just a lot of fun. And we gave away a 2-night stay as a part of that. But it's look at it as a way to have fun. It's so, and you can kind of, once you do post that blog, go back and look and see if you have any likes on Facebook. See if you have any comments, and take note of that, and so that you know what to develop in the future and maybe adjust your blog calendar. I know that we had a lot of initial questions in the first week about AdWords, and it's a very important tool. I don't know if I hit on it enough towards the end of the presentation, but it's really important. You may feel a little overwhelmed, and that your only option is to buy traffic. And so if you're sitting out there and you do have questions about AdWords, feel free to jump in. Be happy to dive into any detail that you'd like to see. If you're thinking about, just to hit on AdWords again, you're kind of sitting there and maybe you've never set it up before, and you're wondering, where do you start? There's a lot of information out there that's available on Google AdWords to kind of give you some of the deeper details on some of the technical stuff. So if you do have questions, just shoot an email to ben@q4launch.com with your your information, and I can help direct you to other resources that are out there. There's just there's reams and reams of resources that can help you understand the AdWords world and what you can do to get results. Next week, we're actually going to be talking about your #1 sales tool and how to make it work for you. It's website design and optimization. And, if you've kind of thinking about all this and you want to see how it ties back to your website design as a whole and what you can do differently, if you're thinking about a redesign, or, we recommend redesigning a website around results, and expected results, not just, fun and fancy design. But this will be a great webinar to kind of dive into the details on what you can do to optimize your website, and that's on Tuesday, November 27th. So pardon me, I think I said that was next week, but it's actually the 27th. So, and then once again, make sure you send us your homework. We want you to see value from all of this. We don't want you to leave empty-handed. We just had a question come in about a good and a bad bounce rate. Okay, a bounce rate is simply a visitor that comes to your website and immediately leaves. You typically want your bounce rate to be at or below 50%. And, it really depends on which page you're talking. Your home page, you want it, as low as possible. But 50% is really the rule of measure, the rule of thumb that we use. And a few questions about the next webinar. The next webinar is actually Tuesday, November 27th, which is not next week, but the following week. Sorry, I think I said next week, and then there was some confusion there. So it's the 27th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Same time, same place. And once again, just to hit on the value of that session, we're going to leave you with some tools and some ways you can kind of just some really good information you can have if you're going to your web developer right now and you're asking about these things, and he's kind of shooting responses back. You understand more about what your website is doing now and what you can do differently and how design will help. This will clear that up for you, and kind of bring you into the light in some of those areas. And once again, the analytics homework is a great segue into that session. It'll allow us to tie in the data that your website has and kind of make that informed decision. So once again, if you do have any questions, don't be shy, and remember to send in your Google Analytics login credentials to matt@q4launch.com, and we'll provide you with that free analytics audit going over the top 10 keywords that are driving traffic to your website, and the top sources of traffic. We want to clear up to if you do have any questions on SEO. I know we talked about that quickly, and there's so much stuff out there that you can read on SEO. We just want to make sure that that you are educated. We don't want to see, we've seen it too many times where, and once again, the broken record that you're targeting a specific keyword, and that keyword is giving you rankings, but you're not getting any traffic. So what's the value of that? What's the value of the money you're spending to rank for that keyword? We don't want you to see you in the dark. So if you do have questions, send them in. If you're interested in resources too for Google AdWords, for SEO, for more information on your blog, just shoot an email to ben@q4launch.com. Then once again, shoot your homework over to matt@q4launch.com, and we can go ahead and run your audit for you. I'll go ahead and give you a few more minutes if anyone has any more questions in regards to what we talked about, or the next session, or your homework. So just give it a few more minutes here. And once again, we are recording this session, so we can send that out as well in addition to the slides. And if you would like a copy of the slides from last week, we'd be glad to send that over to you as well.